Hey everyone, and welcome to today's live streamed AMA. Before we start, let's go through. We have 5 minutes. Let's just go through the comments. First one is by Anmol Srivastava. I think Sonam, you already have a huge fan, like Sonam and the very happy smiley face. So thanks for that, Anmol. Uh,
Anmol is my sister, by the way.
okay, awesome, awesome, awesome. It's really great to see, family members supporting each other. So thanks,
Yeah.
Anmol, and hi. Hope you're doing great. Mohammed Firoz says, hello. Hello, Mohammed. How are you doing? And hello from the entire Wright Research team. Hello. Thank you for lending Sonam so that she can educate all of us. It really means a lot. Sachin IGT says hi. Mayanak Chakraborty says, hello, Sonam.
Hello.
Um, yeah. Sonam, it's really glad that you could actually make it today. Like, it's a Friday. Nobody wants to spend time, away from their weekend, like the Friday night, because it's like a chill day after an entire week of work. So it really
Right.
means a lot to take that time and come here and, say hi to and educate all the viewers.
No, no, thank you for having me. I'm really looking forward to this, and it's my pleasure to be here on the small case platform.
Thank you so much. It really means a lot. We have a few more comments coming in.
Mhm.
Abhishek says hi. Hi, Abhishek. Gujarati status says hi. Hi.
Hi.
Suresh PR Nambiar says hi. How are you? We're doing good. How are you, Suresh? Royal Razor says, I love small case. Thank you so much. That means a lot. We love you too. And yeah, so everybody, welcome to today's live streamed AMA session about the Budget 22 and pivot your portfolio the right way. Thanks for everyone for joining in. We're hoping to see more viewers come in. And you can ask all your questions related to the budget or small cases in general about Wright Research in the chat box below. And we'll be asking all the questions. We'll be trying to get as much as of all your questions answered, and your answers are in safe hands because we have one of the best and promising talents within the industry. She has more than 9 years of experience and she has traded for HSBC and Cuplum and Edelweiss. The one and only Sonam Srivastava, the founder and CEO of Wright Research. So glad you're here. Any opening remarks that you would like to share?
No, so thanks a lot for having me. I'm really looking forward to this AMA. We've had a great event coming in, which was Budget 2022, and it is an opportunity for us to shift our allocations and really, it has given direction to how the markets will go forward from here. And it will be a very interesting chat today to understand where how we can pivot our portfolios. So really looking forward to it.
Amazing, amazing. We also have a lot of fans here who claim to say that they are actually subscribers of the Right Momentum Small Case. So
Yeah.
thank you so much. I think we slowly started building, I think Right Research has slowly started building a cult fan following because the talks are simply amazing. Uh, yeah.
Yeah.
So the first question we would like to take is Vikas Kumar asks, how can we set our small case SIP and rebalance on the same date?
So see, we typically Right Research, we try to rebalance on the first of the month, right, as a rule, so that you can time your SIP and your on the exact same day. This month, because the budget came on the 1st of Feb, so we wanted to wait out like a day, right? Because budget comes up with some key announcement that can totally change the picture, right? We wanted to wait it out for a day, but typically you can just expect Right Research will publish the rebalance on the 1st of the month.
Thank you, thank you. So Vikas, I hope you have gotten your answer. The next question is from directly related to the budget. Lobsang Stirring asks, I'm so sorry if I pronounced that wrong. Lobsang asks, hi, I'm a subscriber of Growth and Income, should invest more. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Lobsang. Brijesh Gandhi asks, as per the budget, which sector will work more?
Right. So I think the everybody sort of has the idea that this budget announced all the key policies for the infrastructure sector, right? Which means that the government wants to develop the roads, highways, railways, and the logistics to support the broader economy. The idea is that if our infrastructure is strong, then on the basis of that, the rest of the economy will flourish, right? If you have good connectivity uh, across India, right, through the infrastructure projects, the rest of the other industries will gain from that, right? So now that the government has focused on infrastructure, there will be immediate demand for cement, capital goods, logistic companies, and things like that, right? That comes into the picture. Real estate will be in focus, and other sectors that are directly linked to infrastructure will gain from here. Also, in the budget, the finance minister focused a lot on digitization and upskilling, and new age sector. She talked about fintech and making digital banking available for everybody. She talked about digitization and lower compliance for various industries. So sectors like those, which is the new age sectors, along with electric vehicle and sustainable investing, will flourish with this budget.
Amazing, amazing. So, Brijesh, I hope you've gotten your answer. The next question is from Royal Razor. Wow, such an iconic name. Royal Razor, the question is, I have invested in Right Momentum and Capital Mind Momentum. What do you think is the future of these small cases? At least with Right Momentum, what do you think is the future
Yeah.
of the small case? Yeah.
Yeah. So see, with the budget, I think momentum has sort of come back into the markets, right? And we expect momentum to do well. And if you even look at the last 3 months, when there was some volatility in the market, there was some correction that happened, even then momentum did really well. So I'm very positive about the future of momentum, right? And I can talk about Right Momentum. We have shifted a little bit of allocation to banking and infrastructure-led sectors recently, and we expect them to flourish after the budget.
Got it. Next question is from Abhishek Saha, who asked, I bought Right Momentum and Tegimandi last week. Both are in loss. What to do? How long should I wait? How long should I hold it for? I'm new in the market.
Yeah, so I would tell you is that 1 week is a very short span of time to look at any portfolio, right? So we are buying stocks, and typically for any strategy to work, it takes a slightly longer time. So 1 week, 1 day, things like that is just noise, right? The actual effect of these portfolios will be seen by you in longer duration. So I would request you to stick with these portfolios for 6 months or 1 year, and see the full potential that they have. And I think our existing investors will agree, right, that there have been time when you've got 15% return in a single month, and there have been times when over 3 months you only got 5%. So you have to look at the longer term to get the real flavor of the strategy.
I think that's initially the beginner. I mean, even me, when initially when I used to invest in small case, I would refresh every day. I'm like, okay, is this in profit? What is my returns? There was no patience at all. So, Abhishek, I think we were both on the same page. I think the game plan is to go on the long term, and it's something that we both can learn. Next
Right.
question is from Harpreet Singh Soki. Hi, Harpreet. Logistics or infra? I believe Harpreet is asking about the sectors, logistics or infra, which might do better.
See, logistics is the first step towards infra, right? So when infrastructure development happens, you will need goods to travel across long distances, right? And that's where logistics will come into place. So logistics is a sector that will directly gain when the infrastructure push comes into the economy, right?
Got it. And
Yeah.
so, Harpreet, I've hope you've gotten your answer for the two sectors that you were trying to ask. Next question is from Manash Mandal. Manash asks, is this the right time to invest in momentum small cases? The market seems range bound without any real momentum.
I mean, that is true. See, there are many triggers of volatility in the market, right? One being the Fed rate hike, one being Omicron and things like that. The Russian uh, situation with Ukraine, right? Things like that. There are worries here and there, right? But particular sectors and industries will gain momentum, right? Like right now, if you look at the infrastructure sector, yeah, or infrastructure linked sectors, they have started picking up. Or if you look at the banking sector and the PSU bank, which are directly linked to the credit needed for infrastructure growth, they have started picking up. So certain pockets in the market, like I said, infrastructure banking right now or different packets right now, at other times will have momentum. Like if you look at the last year, we had a lot of IT allocation, right, which really led the momentum portfolio to grow. But now, as the situation is shifting, we are shifting allocation to banking and infra, and that should take the momentum forward. Obviously, timing and saying that this month will be a 10% return month is very tough, right? But we will see momentum having flavor going on, because there is no real, I mean, reason for a major panic, right? We understand that Fed rate hike is going to come and things like that are going to happen, right?
Understood. So I think it's all about the real flavor of how momentum can catch up. Is that right?
Right. So I mean, see, the sector allocation will shift, and different pockets in the economy will have momentum. I can't say that the overall Nifty will have momentum, but I can say that maybe banking and infrastructure will have some momentum for the short term.
Understood.
Right.
So, Harpreet, I think you've gotten your answer for that. Thank you so much for the question, as well as Manas. Next question is from Ananta Kumar Sahu, who asks, can we get any discount or coupon code for Right Momentum Small Case Sonam and with the huge two smiley faces? Ananta, I think in fact you are getting two coupon codes. So Sonam, if you could talk about them, I think they would be really happy.
Right. So we have a long-term coupon code called NY15, which is for the New Year's, and it is being featured all across the small case app. So you have that. But if you want to invest today or tomorrow, we have a special coupon code just for the budget, which is Budget'22. And with that, you will get 22% off till tomorrow. Otherwise, you can use the coupon code NY15 for 15% discount.
So Ananta, I think you're really happy. Instead of one coupon code, you get two. So thank you so much for that question. It helps all the viewers around as well. Gaurish Maikar asks, with weekly rebalance updates for Right Momentum Small Case, it is hard for me to keep a track of overall returns. Perhaps Gaurish is asking any tips on how to keep track of it.
So on the small case app, I think you get a fair, you get the return is published right over there. But you should also be aware that we don't add and remove the same stock on a weekly frequency. Let's suppose we added a stock this week, you would expect it to be there in the portfolio for a month or a much larger time, right? So we typically exit a stock only after a significant time period. It's not like that we add a stock this week and we're removing it next until unless something major has happened. So you can track and you can expect a little shift to happen every few weeks, but typically stocks will be sticky in the portfolio.
Got it. The next question is from Sunil KV, who was, small case with ETFs in India, do we have any liquidity issue? Example, global opportunities.
See, there is, I mean, obviously, if you look at US stock markets, that liquidity in ETFs is exceptional, right? It is better than stocks. In India, it is very limited. I mean, there are certain ETFs like the Nifty ETF, Bank Nifty ETF, liquid ETF, which are very liquid. But there is a little bit of liquidity issue in the long-term government securities ETF, and the US ETFs have now come up with some constraints, right? They can't issue new units, something like that. So there are issues here and there, but we try to make sure that we are not giving out allocation to any such ETF which has a problem, right?
Understood. The next comment is by Prashan Ayanaparthi, who says, I invested in Right Momentum. Thank you so much, Prashan. Now Mukesh Ahir asks, small case mein loss to nahi hoga. Small case works just like any other stocks that you buy. So profits and loss are just like any other stocks that you buy in small case. Suresh Kumar P asks, how do you define momentum, especially on a right momentum small case?
Right. So see, momentum, the simple definition of momentum is trend following, or picking up a trend and capturing it. But how do you find that trend? There are a number of ways, right? So one is, you look at a long-term return in the market. One is you look at a short-term return in the market, right? Whichever stock is giving good return over the last 1 year is a high momentum stock. Or, you can look at some levels, right? Whichever stock has broken the upper Bollinger Band. It's a technical analysis, rules that upper Bollinger Band is a stock that is trending. Or if you look at any stock that has broken its 52-week high price is trending. There are a number of ways you can look at moving average, convergent divergence, and a number of things. So I tried. So with right momentum, we don't focus on one single momentum indicator, right? We look at a number of these indicators, and we try to allocate more to whichever momentum indicator is doing best. So that is how we
Understood. So Sachin again has another question. Need more understanding on the 1.5% fee. So maybe Sonam, you could explain on the 1.5% fee.
Yeah. So some of our portfolios are there in the AUM based model, right? In the AUM based pricing, how the pricing works is that we look at your average invested value during the month, right? So in the last month, what was your investment value? We charge 1.5% yearly, right? So it's not like we are charging 1.5 every month. We are charging 1.5 by 12, which is 0.125% of the invested value every month. And if you increase your allocation in any given month, then your fee will also increase along with that. If you decrease it, it will decrease along with that.
Understood. So I think that gives a basic sense of how the 1.25% fee works on an annual time gap. Nagdeep GK asks, which small case is suggested post budget 2022 for long-term gains?
Yeah, so see, post budget in the last 1 week, two of our portfolios have really started picking up, right? So momentum has given 5% returns since then, and our innovation portfolio, which focuses on new age industries and electric vehicles, has started giving very good performance. So I would recommend these two portfolios, right? And also we have a multi-factor portfolio, right? In 3 risk profiles: balanced, conservative, and growth. In that portfolio, what we're trying to do is we're trying to allocate to whichever factor works best for a current scenario. So even that portfolio shifted more to momentum recently, right? So you can choose any of these portfolio based on your risk profile.
Understood. So thanks, Nagdeep, for that question. So now you have the option to understand what your risk appetite is and go for whichever small case has been mentioned according to their risk factors. The next question is from Sharada Prasanna Parida. Hi, Sharada. The question is how the EV policy announcements and PLI scheme benefit Indian companies and complement each other. Could you please explain?
Right. So the government has announced some PLI for solar industry, right? And along with that, they have announced green bonds, right? Through which companies which have good ESG policies will benefit, right? And the finance minister has repeatedly mentioned that she wants to focus on the sustainable sector and focus more and more on the energy efficiency. So I think there is a lot of incentive for the EV space, and EV space is already receives a lot of incentive in terms of tax benefits when you buy an electric vehicle and things like that. So the budget has been positive for that particular industry. I mean, it has received incentives, and the actual working of it will slightly pan out in the long term, right?
Understood. So, Sharda, I hope you could get your answer from that. Gaurish Mayekar asks, when I take a swing trade and after 3 months I sell the stock, I can straight away get to know how much percentage up or down I made on that trade. I can't just figure it out with right momentum small case.
Yeah, I think Gaurav has asked this to Shweta, who looks at our customer support, and then she told me about this question. So I think what I told you was that we see, we don't change our, we it's not like, we bought one stock in momentum today, we are not going to sell it next week, right? So you can expect it to stick in your portfolio at least for 1 month or 3 months even, right? Like today, if we have added, let's say, an ICICI bank, then we are not going to exit it next week. We might change something or the other in the coming week, but we stick to an allocation for a longer time, right? So, I mean, you can expect to have any stock in your portfolio for 1 to 3 months easily, right? So that's how you can track it.
Got it. Thank you so much for that question. And the next one is by Sahil Bagsar, who asked, I have subscribed to a momentum strategy and put it on auto renewal. If there is
Mhm.
any active coupon code, will that be automatically applied or should I cancel the subscription and resubscribe?
Yeah, so see, in this case, what happens is that if you have it on auto, then coupon codes cannot be applied, right? But if you cancel it now, you can only resubscribe with the coupon code in the next, wherever your particular subscription gets over, right? So that is, I think, how it works, and we face some challenges with other users. So before you do this, you should definitely email us, and we'll guide you how to go about it, right? If you're planning to do something like that, it's best to email us and we'll guide you with the proper procedure to go about it so that you don't face any other issues, right?
Amazing. So Sahil, please reach out to the Wright Research team and they will help you with it. Moving forward, next question. Uh, Piyush asking why is high quality right price? So Piyush, this is basically high quality right prices by Green Portfolio. Today we'll
Yeah.
be answering all questions related to Wright Research. Moving on, we have Senior Buckshot. Hi, Senior. The question is, hello there. Do we, by any chance, get a Bitcoin ETF like foreign countries in the future?
That is again very challenging for us to answer, and I think the finance minister has taxed Bitcoin recently, right? So I don't know. Even you see, in India, getting up exposure to a Bitcoin ETF, I think it's a little bit far away. But you can invest into a Bitcoin ETF as an Indian also through the LRS scheme, right? You can invest into that ETF if you want through the LRS scheme in the US market.
Thank you. Thank you so much. That was very informative for people looking at other asset classes. Aditya Tiwari is asking, can you provide Right Research small case for a 1 year subscription?
Yeah, so see, we did have 1 year. We don't have a problem with providing 1 year subscription, but there is a SEBI rule that investment advisors cannot take fee for more than 6 months upfront, right? And Right Research works under the investment advisory license. There are certain other publishers on small case who work under the research analyst regulations, right? So research analyst can take 1 year subscription, but investment advisor can only take 6 months. So that's why we only take 6 months at a time, right?
Thank you. I think that makes a lot of sense. So it is because of the different rules of SEBI why Right Research cannot offer a 1 year subscription. Next question is from Suyash Chandra. Hi, Suyash. If someone has some spare cash lying around and the market crashes, which product from Right Research is best for the scenario?
So if you want to buy at the bottom, right, like after a crash, you're looking to capitalize on the growth that comes after the crash, I would recommend to go with a momentum portfolio because typically after the crash, momentum is something that picks up the fastest, right? So that's why I would recommend for you to go with momentum. If you think you should be investing into smaller stocks, then you can go with Wright small caps. And if you're looking to invest into new age companies and innovative stocks, then you can go with the innovation portfolio. If you don't want to worry about timing the market, then you can go with a multi-factor portfolio, which are balanced, growth, and conservative.
Got it. Thank you so much. Next question is from Kalyan Chakravarti. Hi, Kalyan. I am a subscriber of Balanced MFT, Smaller Investment Portfolio. Will there be any additions of stocks benefiting from new capex plan announced during the recent budget?
Yes, so you must have received the rebalance update from us on 2nd of February, just right after the budget. And in that update, I think we have added some banking stocks and infrastructure and real estate linked stocks to actually capitalize on the cycle that will happen after the budget, right?
Got it.
Yeah.
Thanks for that. And the next question is from Sanjog Mehta. Hi, Sanjog. I am thinking to invest in Right Momentum, but its PE ratio is 66.01, is around double the equity mid cap, 34.20. This scares me. Do we see PE in the same way for momentum strategy as we see normally?
See, when you invest into momentum, you should expect a high PE, right? So because momentum stocks are growth stocks, right? The price, I mean, everybody is herding towards the trend, right? And when people are herding towards that particular stock, it price inflates, right? You can expect, so you will always expect a momentum PE to be higher than the average PE, right? Because if you look at any stock that is a growth stock, it usually has a high PE, right? But yeah, you shouldn't. It's a very well diversified portfolio. There are a number of industries there, right? And it takes tactical bets on particular industry, right? So it's not like that we have now picked up a high PE mid cap from let's say a pharma space or FMCG which is underperforming. We try to take tactical bets in the particular sectors that are growing, and you can expect to have a slightly higher P ratio. The exact 66 number I have to check, but yeah, you will typically a momentum portfolio will have a high P ratio.
I think that was a very informative answer. Thank you. Thank you, Sanjog, for also asking that question. The next question is from Ravi. Hi, Ravi. Hope you're doing well. Ravi asks, the fees for subscription should have an option to pay as a monthly deductible rather than one-time deduction. Any thoughts on that?
So we do have a monthly deductible, right? Like you can subscribe with a monthly payment, 3 monthly, 6 monthly. You have that choice, right?
All right. So thank you for that answer. The next one is from I think a few of the questions are being repeated. So some of them have already been answered. So please try not to spam the chat box, but we will go through every question. Suryash, your question has already been answered. So before we move on to the next question, Sonam, generally when we talk about the budget, how would you rate this year's budget, and what do you think is the long-term implications of that?
Yeah, so see, I rate the budget somewhere between 3.5 and 4 because the need of the hour was infrastructure spending, right? Like you said that you know we have suffered through a pandemic, and for us to come back with good growth numbers, for the economy to recover to its potential, infrastructure is the first step, right? You have to have better roads, better infrastructure for other industries to flourish. So the government has delivered on that front. They have provided growth into the economy. They have kept that stance that they want to bring in growth. But yes, there is a worry in terms of the fiscal deficit number, right? How much extra the government is going to spend from whatever revenue that they are going to get, right? So there's a worry that if the fiscal deficit overextends, right, the number is very high, then we could have inflation and there could be a pressure in terms of high of the interest rates. The interest rates might be raised if inflation rises. So those type of worries are there. But the push for infrastructure, I think, is something that was needed and has been given. There could have been maybe a little bit more welfare in the economy, right, to stimulate rural growth and rural consumption. But the government has been conservative on that front because they probably didn't want to overextend the fiscal deficit. So I would rate the budget somewhere between 3.5 to 4 because it has delivered in terms of the growth that was needed for the economy.
Understood. Thank you
Right.
for that. I think we needed an overall long-term perspective of what this year's budget is. Next question is by Vikas, who asks, what strategy do we use to exit from a stock before it's too late?
How do you exit from a stock before it's too late? So see, typically, uh, when you talk about, for a momentum type strategy, you will get an immediate exit. The moment the stock shows any sort of weakness, the momentum portfolio might exit it, right? But if you look at, like, let's say a quality portfolio or like a value portfolio, then you don't have to exit at any volatility, right? You typically take these bets for a longer term. You identified a high quality company and you want to stick with it till it delivers, right? So there are a number of ways through which you can time your stock investment uh, before it's too late. Is when you expect that that particular company is going to go into the dump, and it doesn't have a way up. So those type of things typically happen very rarely in the market, right? There is the feature of the stock market is to grow as the companies grow their earning. And before it's too late is something that would happen really. But yeah, uh, in all our portfolios, we are very proactively timing and looking at all the allocations so that they have that so that we can time the exit when we need to, right, at the correct time.
Right. Understood. So the next question is from Sohail Mansoori, who asks, if a single stock is down by 10% or more in small case, should we buy that share more to average?
See, it is again, it is very subjective, right? So a stock might have just like a correction of 10%, right? Like a stock that has been growing a lot, people started booking their profit, and that's why the stock is down 10%, right? So that could be a good opportunity to buy if that stock has a good path, it has a good growth projections, right? But sometimes what might also happen is that a particular company goes through some event, right? Something changes in that company, it misses its earning or something like that happens, and it is going through a real correction, right? The price is devaluing because of a certain event. So it depends on situation to situation. So sometimes 10% can be used as a stop loss for some strategies, that I will exit if it hits a 10% drawdown. And in sometimes there is a natural correction after which the company might come back and you should add. So it is a very subjective call that uh, we cannot give one straight answer to.
Understood. The next question is from Sanjay Singh, who asks, what's your opinion about specialty chemicals? I have invested a huge amount in it in windmills, small case. Please guide me. I don't think Sonam can talk for the windmill small case, but she can definitely give her opinion
Yeah.
about specialty chemicals.
Yeah, so specialty chemical, I think, is one industry that flourished last year, right? Last year when that China plus one strategy was happening, that um, a lot of demand, a lot of supply side was shifting towards India. That's when these specialty chemical companies really flourished. And I think that specialty chemical has an amazing future in India, right? It's a very small industry, it's a very competitive industry. And a single specialty chemical manufacturer can build a very good demand side for themselves. So it is a very good opportunity, but obviously it is a volatile sector, right? It's not like FMCG sector where the demand is constant and something like that. Specialty chemical is will go through a long cycle up cycle, but it also might go through smaller down cycles. So that's why you should trust, like if you trust windmills to sort of manage the manager out there to sort of time entry and exit, that should be best instead of you buying a single specialty chemical stock. It is best to follow an expert advice when going through such sectors, which can have up cycles and down cycles, right?
Understood. The next question is from Abhishek Kumar, who asks, do we have any small case targeting supply chain? Or at least for
When you say, yeah, so we don't have anything specifically for supply chain, but supply chain forms the basis of every industry, and it finds it is part of a number of factors, right? So we don't have anything specifically for supply chain, but obviously supply chain forms the basis of a lot of the factors that we look at.
Understood. So I think, Abhishek, I think the backbone of a lot of business is the supply chain, and that plays an integral part into the businesses. The next question is from Piyush, who asks, can the Nifty index outperform the US index in the coming 2 to 3 years in terms of returns?
See, if the infrastructure push that the government has announced delivers, right, then we can. So if you recall the market in 2004 to 7, right, that was the time when the government did a lot of infrastructure push to boost the economy, and that actually delivered, and Nifty outperformed the broader indices, because India is a smaller country, developing country. It has a lot of scope to grow. So if these things deliver, and if we can manage our deficits well, then obviously we can outperform. But there are things into play, like I said, the Fed rate hikes and things like that, that will come, and we'll have to manage the volatility that comes along with it. But obviously India has a great growth path ahead, right?
So, Sonam, is this something that we have seen before happen? Has Nifty, when you say broader indices, has Nifty outperformed the US indexes, I mean indices before, or is it something that this will be, something that we have yet to see?
No. So the Nifty outperforms the broader indices in many instances, right? So if you remember, 2004 to 7, emerging markets did better than developed markets. If you look at, even 2013 to 17, right, the Nifty was growing like anything, much better than the broader markets, right? So emerging markets, because, any index performance is based on the earning growth, right? On the GDP growth. So India GDP growth will obviously be higher than the developed market, because India has a larger scope to grow. So so if things, if there is no excessive global volatility that comes into play, India should uh, do better than the global markets, right? Even in the inflationary environment, even if the Fed rate hikes come, because the economy is in a strong place right now, a lot of experts are expecting that Indian market will grow at a very rapid pace.
Understood. So I think the next question is from Chinmay. Before we move to the next one, Piyush, very good question. Thank you so much for asking that. Next one is by Chinmay Chittaranjan. Job market is at an all-time low. How the capital would filter down to the masses for consumption to increase? How can the companies make profit if there is no money with the major part of the population? Very interesting question.
Yeah, so that is again, that is a question I think that a lot of experts have, posed, right? That the government should have done a little bit better uh, in terms of simulating the rural economy, which is at a job market, and the rural demand is at a all-time low. But yeah, as the industry grows, if there is infrastructure growth, then there will be a lot of demand for employment in these sectors. And as more inclusiveness in the economy and more digitization grows, there will be a penetration of the broader economy towards the rural sector that can help. But obviously, yeah, I agree that the government could have done more in terms of welfare for the rural sector, which is struggling right now.
Understood.
Right.
So I think the next question is from Ankit. So if in some small cases only some stocks are gaining, while rest of the small case stocks of the small case are losing daily, should we still continue with SIP?
See, there will be instances when a particular small case uh, has certain stocks that are struggling, but that will be even the broader economy will have instances when a certain percentage of stocks are struggling whereas others are doing well. uh, but you should, if you believe in the philosophy of that particular small case, right, that they will time the entry and exit and they will reshuffle the portfolio to do well, that if you trust the manager and the strategy that they are following, then you should continue, because volatility is part and parcel of equity investing, right? We have to understand that index or any strategy doesn't go up in a straight line. There is a jagged path. There sometimes things go up, sometimes things go down, but you should you the performance that you can expect from the equity market is usually in the long term, right?
Understood. Understood. So I think it's always the long-term game plan that we're supposed to be focused on.
Yeah, so
Um,
we will always try to do our best and try to keep it as straight as possible, right? That is my job. That make sure that the performance is always we're doing our best to give the best performance, but the nature of the market is to have volatility, right?
Understood. Understood. The next question is from Passion Education. So Passion Education asks, I subscribed to Right Momentum last month. How much should I invest to get fair gains?
To get fair gains, see, if you are investing into momentum strategy, depending on your risk profile, right, it should always be dependent on your risk profile. If you are a high risk investor, then you can invest up to 60-80% of your capital into this. If you're a low risk investor, then keep this allocation low, 20-30% of your overall portfolio size. um, if you're talking about the transaction cost and the fee element of it, right, then that would be most beneficial if you invest more than a lakh or 2 lakh. That's when the transaction cost will become much lower compared to the portfolio size. So I think that would be my answer for you.
Got it. Thank you so much. The next question is from Prashin Ainaparthi, who asks, since the recent rebalance,
Mhm.
Tata Steel has been in losses under Right Momentum. What will
Mhm.
be the projection of Tata Steel and what will be the approach to deal with this stock?
See, Tata Steel, it might be struggling a little bit because there has been some correction in the metal sector, but you can definitely expect the commodity cycle to come back somewhere later in this year, right? So there will be, I think, again a rally in the metal sector coming up very soon, which is what my expectation. It is very difficult to time it exactly, but yeah, Tata Steel has been there as part of Right Momentum, and it is based on the logic that we have defined. And if there is a certain event where we need to exit it, we'll do it. But right now, I think Tata Steel is part of our allocation.
Got it. Bhavesh Thakkar asks, what I think the question is, what is the sense of adding debt fund in a balanced fund like NETFLGILT? Not sure if I can read that.
Yeah, and yeah, I know NETF. So it is long-term guilt fund, right?
Got it. Got
Yeah,
it. So how is
yeah. So
that? Because that is down by 7% instead of why not park in just a liquid fund?
right. See, yeah. See, so we invest into liquid and gilt fund whenever we expect the market to be volatile. This time the gilt funds haven't done that well because of pressures from the credit cycle and a bunch of stuff. But if you look at like we had allocation to this the same gilt fund during March 2020 with Right Balanced, and that was the time when it did really well. This particular fund is also facing pressures in terms of liquidity. I mean, actual price discovery and the liquidity issues. So that's why I think we have removed it recently, and we'll have to figure out how do we get that benefit of the long term gilt rates increasing if the economy goes through a down cycle. So we'll figure it out. Right now we have reduced the exposure to this gilt fund, but yeah, there are times when investing into gilt makes a lot of sense, and that's why we are on a lookout for a good long term gilt ETF that we can add to our portfolio.
Thank you, Bhavish, for that question. I think it helps noobs definitely like me to learn new terms and new funds each and every day. Thank you, Bhavish. The next question is from Ranganath Krishnamurthy. Hi, Ranganath. How can I choose the best small case as I'm a newbie? I think this would be a question on a lot of people's minds. How can I
Right.
choose the best small case as I'm a newbie?
Right. So see, if you ask me, any given time, how do you select a particular small case to invest into? It should be, it is a function of your investing capacity, right? And what is available out there. So if you are somebody who is young, who wants to take a lot of risk, then go with like a high risk strategy like Right Momentum or Right Innovation, Right Small Cap, something like that, right? um, some place where you get high return even though the risk might be higher because you are able to take that. If you are a medium risk investor, right, you don't want to take a lot of risk in the market, you want to be a little conservative, then go with something like the Right Balanced or the quality fund, something like that. And if you're a very risk averse person who doesn't want to take any risk, then go with the conservative strategy, right? So it is a function of your investing style if you are choosing the portfolio at any given point of time. But yes, if you ask me right now, right, what particular portfolio from Right Research will I recommend right now? I would say going with the momentum portfolio or the innovation portfolio might make a lot of sense right now.
Understood. Thank you so much. I think that's going to help a lot of new people who are entering into the stock market.
Correct.
The next question is from Sandeep Bareja. Was a very interesting question. So I think this question is like very common to people usually who are entering the stock markets. But the question is, if we want to make at least rupees 50,000 per month as profit from stock markets through small case, then how should we invest?
See, if you want to make 50,000 per month, which means you want to make 6 lakh rupees per year, right? And so you can expect, see when you're investing into the stock market, right, I will never promise you that we're going to deliver you 50,000 rupees per month, right? That no manager on earth, right, who is doing equity allocation can say that I will give you 50,000 rupees per month. If somebody is saying that, then they're lying to you, right? Because stock market, how it moves is that let's suppose you invested 10 lakh rupees, right? Maybe in one given month we do really well, we give you 10% return, so you made 1 lakh in 1 month, right? But let's suppose in another month there might be volatility, you might make maybe only 20,000 rupees, or maybe you even lost, let's say, 20,000 rupees, right? So it moves like this. But in the long term, if you want to make an average 50,000 over the last 1 year, then you can choose any of our funds like Right Momentum or Balanced or Innovation, right, which have given very good returns over the historical time period. So I hope I am able to answer your question.
Understood. Yeah. The next question is from Rajat, who asks, when a rebalance email comes of A, B stock to be sold, and C, D is to be bought, but when I do the rebalance, other stocks are also mentioned to be sold and bought. Should I remove such adjustments?
Yes. So see, what happens is that I provide weightages to small case, right? That let's say I tell them 5% weightage to HDFC Bank, 10% to TCS, something like that, right? So what happens is when you come to invest, what they do is they convert your amount based on my weightages into shares, right? But let's suppose I have calculated its weightages on today, and you came and invested after 3 days. So the prices might have moved, right? So, and because of the movement in prices, the number of shares might differ from today to after 2 3 days, even from today to tomorrow, right? I give you a rebalance today, and tomorrow the prices have moved in the morning, right? So that's why there is trades that are triggered in some of the stocks where we did not want to trigger that trade, but because of the movement of prices, there is a trade that is triggered. So that's why we give you that list that only try to buy this, only try to sell this, and ignore the others, right? You can try to follow that and ignore anything that is not mentioned in the email just to save on the transactions.
Right, right. I think that's a very informative answer. And thank you for such an interesting question, Rajat. The next question is from Vijay Kapoor, who asks, how come your momentum small case is different from capital mine momentum? And will momentum work in bear markets? So I'm not sure if Sonam can answer how in comparison it is to capital mine, but Sonam can definitely answer how the right momentum small case is different and unique.
Yeah, see, all momentum portfolios will essentially be, quite similar, right? Because, there are uh, 2000 stocks where people are choosing the high momentum stocks, and typically managers are focusing on large cap, mid caps, right? Not going to very smaller stocks. So the universe is the same, and everybody is trying to capture a trending portfolio. But obviously, everybody's approach is different. I don't know what Capital Line does or anybody else does, right? So we have what at Right Momentum, what we do is we have devised a strategy for identifying the trending stocks, and not just identifying the trending stocks, but also looking at the risk of the overall portfolio, diversifying it across industries, uh, and focusing on capturing the trend and capitalizing on the trend, right? So that is what our philosophy is. And even in the bear market, right, Right Momentum should do well. Only the only instance where momentum does worse off than the index is when there's a sharp crash, right? If a sharp crash happens like what happened in March 2020, then you can expect that momentum also went down drastically, right? So that is the instances where a momentum portfolio sort of fails. But otherwise, because the idea is to capture the trend, you can expect it to do better than the index. So even if you look at the last 3 months, right, October to December, when there was a lot of volatility in the index, right, the market went through a correction. Even then, Right Momentum has done much better than the index. So in volatile periods also you can expect momentum to do well, but when there is a crash, that's when the momentum will underperform. And at Right Research, we try to manage that also by deallocating some part of the portfolio into liquid funds, right? So also we would try to manage the correction even there as well.
Understood. The next question is from Mohammed Ismail. Hi, Mohammed. Asks, what are steps that you may do if, in case any fundamentally very weak time, any major issues globally, what will happen to small case stocks? Drawdown almost will be higher. I'm not sure if I understand the question, but I think what Mohammed is trying to ask is what steps that you may do in such fundamentally very weak times in the market.
Right. So like I again said last time, that market goes through a number of phases. So one is uh, up market, right? One is a down market like March 2020. But otherwise, there is also a sideways market, right? Where it's not going up, it's not going down, it is correcting one day, it is coming up the next day. So if you're talking about those times when the market just goes down, right? Which is like March 2020, or if you look at when the when the demonetization announcement had come into the market and the market sort of crashed. So things like that, when those things happen, right? What we try to do is we try to, none of the equity stocks might do well at that point of time. So beyond a certain correction, beyond let's say a 10% correction in the market in a short span of time, we deallocate the capital away from equity and we put that into liquid funds. And only when the market recovers, we again shift back that allocation into equity. So we'll try to save as much as we can during these short-term drawdowns.
Understood. The next question is from J. Chandrasekhar Achari. Hi, what is the maximum amount to invest in Wright Momentum and Balance MFT small case? The maximum amount.
Yeah, so the maximum amount, so there is no hard limit on it, but how do you define a maximum amount is, see, when you invest via small case, you send out market orders, right? You do a click and everything is directly sent out to the market, right? Through a single order, right? So if you are, let's suppose, I have given a 5% allocation to a small stock, like let's say, Mindtree has a 5% allocation in the portfolio. So you will be, if you have, let's say a 1 crore portfolio, then you will be sending out orders worth 5 lakh with a single click. And 5 lakh might, if you trade a single trade of 5 lakh, it might give you a bad price in the market, right? So that's why we say that, limit it to a slightly smaller size, let's say, 25 lakh, 50 lakh, something like that, so that you don't get a bad hit. If you are trying to do more than that, then do it in slices, right? Buy 20 lakh once and other slice later, so that you don't get a bad price.
Understood. The next question is from Welcome. Welcome to the AMA of Wright Research. So Welcome asks, is there a requirement of 15 to 20 stocks in small case? Instead of going for 20 stocks, can you go for 10 stocks so that we can track these stocks easily?
No. So there's no such requirement, right? But why do we have 15, 20 stocks is for diversification benefit, right? So if as you increase the number of stocks in the portfolio, the allocation to a single stock becomes low, right? So if you remember, when if you had invested with us last year, right? So there was a time when IRCTC was part of our portfolio, and IRCTC stock went berserk, right? Like it went up and it went down, and but still the overall portfolio did not suffer too much, right? Like if you look at the US stock market yesterday, Facebook went down 25%, right? But still the overall market did not go down more than 1-2%, right? That is because you have like a number of stocks as part of the portfolio. So that's why we try to keep it to 15-20%, 15 to 20 stocks, so that it's a very well diversified portfolio, and you don't face too much issue from a single stock. So that's why it is our choice to do it at 15 to 20.
Got it. RJ asks, hi RJ. So how many small case purchases for a long time? So I think RJ is trying to ask, how many small cases do you have to ideally purchase for a long-term investing?
So how I would approach, choosing small cases for long-term investing is that, have like a core portfolio, right? Where, which, something that is based on your risk profile, which looks at a number of factors in the market. So like our multi-factor portfolios, you can have allocation to that. And then then you can have opportunistic bets, like the right momentum portfolio that does well when the markets are going strong, or like let's say the innovation portfolio, which does well when when the new age companies, Indian new age companies are going to have a very flourishing path in the next 4-5 years. So if you want to bet on that, you can invest into the innovation portfolio. If you want to invest into an infra portfolio right now, you can choose other infrastructure portfolios that are available on small case. Or if you want to go for banking, you can choose that sector. So that should be your approach to for choosing your investments when you're going with a small case investment.
Got it. Understood. The next question is from Aditya Kolhatkar, who asks, The rebalance update on small case and the ideal composition of the right momentum do not tally. So every month I have to manually manage the small case, add or remove stocks. Could you please explain?
So I think, see, we recommend that, if there are stocks that where the trade is generated outside of what we have suggested, right, in terms of addition and deletions, then you should probably not trade those stocks. So that's why we sort of recommend that do that manual intervention, so that you don't end up doing extra trade that you shouldn't be doing. I think that is the only manual intervention that we recommend. But yeah, if you have, let's say, SIP active, right, there, you are adding only 10,000 this month, whereas the portfolio overall value is 30,000, then you will only get 33% of the stocks, right? So there could be allocation changes here and there, but it will not amount to a very major difference, right? Because of these changes, there might be a little bit of a tracking error, but it will not be like your portfolio is drastically different from what we are saying. So I would not worry too much about it.
Understood. So I can see a lot of questions coming in, but unfortunately, we are running close on time. But before we close up, let me try to acknowledge at least the people who have asked the questions and we couldn't reach out to them. That is Sandeep Bareja, Rohit Dandekar, Ayush Agarwal, Anusha S, Prashin Ayanapurthy, S. Roy, Ambaresh Srivastav, and Deepak Nainthani, Arun Manjunath, among others. So please feel free. Unfortunately, we are really sorry that we couldn't answer your questions, but feel free to message all your queries to Wright Research. Right, Sonam, if you could have a email ID that they could reach out to.
Definitely. So you can email us at info@rightresearch.in, and you should also follow us on social media. We are very active on Twitter and on Telegram, and we very actively reply to people. So please get in touch with us.
Sure. That's fantastic because the conversation does not end here. It will be continued through Wright Research and their team. And as a closing note, so Sonam, I would like to ask if someone is looking to do a fresh investment right after the budget was announced, what would you tell them?
Right. So right after the budget, I would say that the focus has shifted to infrastructure linked industries in the budget. The idea is to evolve the capex cycle, but it will take time for that to take effect, right, in the economy. It's a direction that the finance minister has given, but the implementation will happen step by step. There might be volatility due to Fed tapering. There might be things here and there, but trust a particular strategy. We think that our momentum and our innovation portfolios will be going strong in the current market scenarios. We also expect the balanced portfolio to do really well because it has a higher momentum allocation right now. So that would be my advice to go with these portfolios and invest for the long term to get the maximum benefit out of these.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Sonam. And once again, there is not just one coupon code, but two of them. NY15 for 15% discount on subscriptions of Wright Research small cases. And until tomorrow, you also have the chance to use the promo code Budget'22 to have to avail a 22% discount. So try to make use of that and let's start the investment journey with the new budget. Thank you so much, Sonam, for joining us today. Like I was saying before our call as well, it's not easy to come in, especially on a Friday. I mean, every manager that comes on board small case, we would really like to appreciate the time and effort that you take to educate and answer all questions from our viewers.
It's my pleasure. I am really happy to be here. So it's a great opportunity. Thanks.
Likewise. So everybody, I think everybody has benefited from your years of experience and in the industry and all the good answers. So everybody, please feel free to contact Wright Research team to answer all your queries. And if you like this video and you want to see more AMAs, webinars, and videos that will educate on investments, please like, share, and subscribe. And if any members of your family or friends or relatives couldn't be here for this AMA, please share this video with them so that they can get all their investment questions answered as well. Thank you so much. And it was lovely talking to you, Sonam. Yeah.
Thank you. Thanks a lot. Thank you, everyone. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.